This is one of the most controversial historical figures in the world, and depending on what side of the argument you're on, he could be either the greatest or the worst ruler in human history. He was responsible for some of the most brutal acts of violence and warfare in history, but he also commissioned some of the greatest building projects ever and presided over an age of peace and prosperity. So who was this legendary leader and why is he so controversial? It's me. Welcome to my channel. Join me today as we look at 10 crazy facts about the most evil pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Number 1, the Great King. When you think of the most powerful rulers of all time, Ramesses II of Egypt has to be near the top of that list. He reigned for over 60 years, from 1279 to 1213 BC, longer than any other Egyptian ruler except for Queen Elizabeth II, and he ruled over a massive empire. At its peak, his empire encompassed all of Egypt and extended into Syria, Nubia, and the Levant. His armies were formidable, and he successfully campaigned against the Hyksos, Nubians, and the Libyans, as well as launching an invasion into the Levant against the Canaanites. He was also a prolific builder, constructing massive temples and complexes all over Egypt, including the Temple of Abu Simbel, which is considered one of the greatest architectural achievements of the ancient world. But despite his many accomplishments, Ramses II is often remembered for his cruelty and brutality. He was responsible for the deaths of thousands of his own people, and he waged war on neighboring kingdoms just for the sake of conquest. So how did this great king become so evil? Number 2, a child of war. Ramesses II was born in 1303 BC during the reign of his father, Set I. His mother was the former Queen Nefertari, who was one of 3 wives of Set I. At the time, Egypt was in the midst of a civil war with the rival 13th dynasty, and Ramses II was caught in the middle. As a result, he grew up in a hostile environment and was trained to be a ruthless warrior from a young age. This upbringing would have a profound impact on him, and it's likely that it contributed to his evil side. Number 3, a ruthless conqueror. From the time he took the throne, Ramesses II was a ruthless conqueror. He waged war on all of his neighbors, including the Hyksos, Nubians, and the Libyans. He was also responsible for the deaths of thousands of his own people. For example, he ordered the execution of anyone who opposed him, including members of his own family. He also built huge prisons to hold his political enemies. Additionally, Ramses II was a firm believer in the Egyptian religion, and he used his power to force his beliefs on others. He persecuted non-Egyptians and even went so far as to destroy their holy sites. All of this shows that Ramses II was a man without mercy. He was willing to do whatever it took to stay in power, and he didn't care who he hurt in the process. Number 4, sexual abuse. In addition to being a ruthless conqueror and religious zealot, Ramesses II was also a sexual abuser. He kept a harem of women and girls, and he used his power to force them into sexual slavery. He also had a particular fondness for young boys, and he was known to abuse them as well. This is all very disturbing, but it really shows the dark side of Ramses II. He was a man who had everything, but he still felt the need to abuse others. Number 5, a brutal punisher. If you ever crossed Ramses II, you could be sure that he would make an example of you. He was a brutal punisher, and he wanted everyone to know that they had been punished. For example, when he defeated the Hittites, he ordered that their king be paraded through the streets of Egypt in chains. He also crucified many of his enemies and left their bodies on display. Even his own son escaped this fate as Ramses II put his pregnant daughter in chains and dragged her around the country as a warning to other potential traitors. This just shows how ruthless and violent Ramses II really was. He wasn't afraid to punish anyone, no matter how close they were to him. Number 6, a despotic ruler. Ramesses II was a despotic ruler, and he ruled over his people with an iron fist. He was responsible for the deaths of thousands of Egyptians, and he showed no mercy to those who opposed him. Additionally, he kept a tight grip on the economy, and he used his power to enrich himself. While he was a great builder, he also used construction projects as a way to control the population. He would build huge temples and then force people to work on them. This not only drained the treasury, but it also caused a lot of suffering. Number 7. Criminal behavior. Ramesses II engaged in criminal behavior, such as theft, rape, and murder. For example, he stole artifacts from other cultures and he raped women without their consent. He also murdered anyone who stood in his way. This behavior is obviously reprehensible, but it really shows the true colors of Ramesses II. He was a man who had everything, but he still chose to engage in criminal activity. Number 8. An arrogant leader. In addition to being a brutal conqueror and tyrant, Ramesses II was also an arrogant leader. He believed that he was superior to other cultures and he used his power to oppress them. He also looked down on his own people, and he saw them as nothing more than subjects. This arrogance ultimately led to his downfall as it made him blind to the needs of his people, and it caused him to overextend his empire. Number 9. A cruel master. Those who served under Ramesses II learned quickly that he was a cruel master. He demanded absolute loyalty and obedience, and he punished anyone who dared defy him. He was also known for being extremely jealous, and he would often accuse his servants of plotting against him. This created a climate of fear and paranoia, and it made it impossible for anyone to feel safe around him. Number 10. A power-hungry tyrant. One of the most evil things about Ramesses II was his insatiable lust for power. He was a classic power-hungry tyrant, and he was never satisfied with the amount of power he had. This led him to engage in endless wars of conquest, and it caused him to oppress his own people. He also used propaganda to promote his image as a godlike ruler, and he ruthlessly crushed any opposition to his rule. This just shows how far-reaching Ramesses II's evil really was. It wasn't enough for him to be a great king. He needed to be worshipped like one. So there you have it. 10 crazy facts about the most evil pharaoh of ancient Egypt. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.